There is no better way to start the day than with a round of widow ball. Y'all ready? Now I'm gonna tell you the problem I got. He comes back. Zora don't want to take the effort. Let's see what happens if I open the window again. Oh, he just jumps back in. And now you want me to throw it? It used to be better when they would both run. But now that my day has begun, I'm gonna go outside. I'll see ya. I'm in the kitchen, which is halfway presentable. Then I can walk you. Whoop, that wasn't presentable. Here, pretty presentable. And then it's not really presentable, but I'm working on it. This is the room I usually do my thingies in. It's my office. Halfway presentable. Working on it. But utility room is halfway okay, which is never the case. Although now I'm outside with my dogs and my thing ain't right. Uh, and my lush lawn. See? And there's the dogs and my lush lawn. And something's wrong with something. Oh, because it's sitting on a pin. There you go. How you doing? There's my surveillance team surveilling me, waiting, waiting, waiting. You see, the ball is there, and she doesn't have it. I've learned patience. Anyway, I want to answer a couple of questions. It was so funny. I hope you enjoyed a little mini tour of the house, and I'm sure you saw that I I I, I had all the correct angles, so nothing crazy showed up, or at least I hope it didn't, because I know y'all be paying attention. Uh, I heard to answer a question one day that had me laughing. She says, it's ironic, and she uses the word ironic, that you love building houses but can't clean your own. And at first blush, that makes sense. But when you think about it, it exemplifies why I enjoy one and hate the other. I like to build. I like to think. You have to create. You have to understand the instructions, and then you have to adjust for where the instructions ain't quite right, or when the thing doesn't quite work, you break it. And then you could create color schemes and patterns. You could look at different. It's all creative. It's all, and then you boom, 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 and then today it looks like this, and tomorrow it looks like that, and you can go to bed and whatever work you did that day is still there when you come out, and you can start from and go to bed. Were you cleaning? Ain't no, it's a scrub, you're all this, that, and the other thing. You ain't got room for nothing. And then you end up opening closets so you can take stuff out, there, rooms, other stuff. Then you see how dirty that is, and all that gets started. It's a never, and you go to bed, you got to do it all over again. Like you didn't do it the day before. That's why I don't like it. But if you stay at a higher level of clean, which is I'm learning to do on a more constant basis, you don't get caught up like I did. So there you go. So, uh, yesterday I went outside and there was this mechanism in the ground that was filled with water. Didn't look right at all. So I called the people out, and the people come out, and she says, "You got a little. You say you have a puddle of something?" And he was real nice. And he goes, "Ooh," when sees it. Don't you hate it when repairmen say, "Ooh," when they see something? He said, "Oh, I see, I see." Now, luckily, it wasn't a "ooh" kind of problem. It was a whole lot of water, but one broken valve, so it was inexpensive. But I swear it reminded me when I was first widowed. I swear Eric's ghost went around and tore up everything in my house. The water heater burst. It didn't burst, but it was leaking from the bottom, it was disintegrating, and it took out half the corner of my garage. My washer dryer broke. Uh, uh, that whole air conditioning system had to be replaced. I mean, everything broke. And I think he was running around and he knows how I worry about things, and he wanted to break everything up front so I could know I could handle this in his absence. Of course, that makes absolutely no sense, but I like the story. It makes me feel better, so that's what I choose to believe. So the brother came back yesterday, and I was thinking, why? And then, but it was cool. But when he said, ooh, I've had a few say, ooh, you know, or that's not good. And that always says at least four figures to me. And you know how cheap I am. So, anyway, there you go. And then somebody asked me, what is the secret to a long term marriage? And I gotta say, and they ask it to everybody, you know, because Morris Chestnut's been married forever. Uh, I mean, there's some people out there, Samuel L. Jackson, Goldie Hawn, and her dude, I can't remember his name. People been out there married forever. Not Ice T. Well, Ice T's been married a long time, but uh, Ice Cube. Uh, and he said you gotta want it, which is, I thought, some fantastic advice. But people ask me that all the time, and I usually try to give an answer. But what I want to say is, I really think that there is no secret to it. I got lucky because I was born before the angst of the internet and all that energy has been. You used to have to leave the house to cheat on your man, but you don't have to no more. It was a lot more involved in it. And and we don't put our relationships on the computer. So we didn't have the option to do that. And I'm not saying if we weren't born in this day and age, we wouldn't be doing that. I think we might very well have, because you're acclimatized by your own culture, what's happening. But we had the, our stuff was still attached to the wall and whatnot. And that was and that made it easier. Uh and what everybody has to do is to build a marriage that can withstand the pressures of the community that you're in. Now, my husband and I had the just great, great blessing of being both born in very married communities. Everybody was married. Everybody, everybody married, stay married. That was that. Now, was there running around going on? I'm sure there was, but I didn't know nothing about it. And And when you live in a married community that you get ideas, you can see how, oh, well, they work theirs this way, or they work theirs that way. And it's not that you sit down and think, oh, that's how a marriage works. But when you have a whole lot of different examples of how what one thing happens, it's easier. But when if you're in a community that is, and I used to call them like disassembled communities, where there are a lot of pressures. There's a lot of socioeconomic pressure. There isn't a lot of uh, strong marital examples all around, and we are now born in it, you know, so it's harder. So what you have to do, like, I can't tell you exactly what to do. I mean, you can't tell it. First of all, everybody's marriage is different. Just because Ice T made it, Ice T, cute, whatever. I'm gonna leave the ice cubes alone. Uh, so Danny DeVito. What, they married 40 years in real I met Danny DeVito on an airplane once. Nicest guy. He was bored. He got bored, and he was sitting in front of me. So he went like this, turned around, and said, "Hey, how you doing?" He was starting a conversation. It was so funny. It was a 4-hour flight, so he wants something to do. He talked to everybody. But anyway, uh, I think they have a 40-year marriage. Like, What went on between the two of them was probably so different with that than that which goes on between me and Eric, which is so different than what goes on between other married people who are making it. You know what I mean? You got, and it's not that I found my soulmate because I don't believe in that kind of thing, but I did find a cat that we had enough in common and enough differences. Well, we wanted the same thing, but we brought different abilities to it. And if you and you gotta want it, but you've got to build the right structure to survive it. So, like these days, there's got to be, you got to have rules about how you going to run your social media and who you going to tell what and what's going to come over. Do you live in a community where there's a lot of singles? You got to have rules about that. You have to be consciously married. You just can't get married, let back and say, hey, let it work. You have to have rules in place that I wouldn't have had to have in place because everything's so different. People be dipping and tripping and everybody, it's just crazy. Like when I was, you used to have to leave the house to cheat. Now, hey baby, how you doing? And cheating on you, right? Same time. How you doing? Sick to cheating right there. Oh, and there's a young lady. I wrote this word down, tangential. Tangential. I use it a lot. Uh, but she was confused about what it was. So tangential is, you know, when you're down the main road of a thought, and then you hit a word like Danny DeVito, and you go off and talk about something else. I go off on tangents, and my tangents are usually more interesting than the main roads of my mind. But who knows? I've been like this forever. What you gonna do? So anyway, there's that. But don't despair. I felt notes of despair. And it's like all of these things are wrong. Yeah, all the things seem so different. All the things are more complicated. All of those things make it more difficult. But if you know what they are and you adjust for them and make rules for them, and don't just get married and wonder how you ended up on the east side of crazy. You got to get married and say, look, okay, get our GPS together. Where do we need bumpers on our car? You know what I mean? Now we got to stop with what's the rule on the social media? The only time my husband ever got mad at me about his phone and his code when I couldn't remember it. He used to get so mad. And I would say, hey, baby, because I always set his stuff up for him. And I'd set what do you call that, password that he could remember, something that's relevant to him. Then I would tell him what it was. And then I would leave it alone. And then next time he wouldn't write it down. He didn't remember. He said, well, you set it up. And I said, well, yeah, but I didn't write it down. I didn't remember. You're supposed to write that down. We went around that a couple times, and he finally started writing it down. Well, why don't you use the same password? I said, well, because sometimes they won't let you. Oh, but anyway, I don't even know how I got into that. You know, I remember once, like, and this had to be in 2020 or something. He was looking at his phone and said, what's this musical note mean? iTunes. He was just that guy, you know? He put up with a lot. I put up with a lot. Oh, and I'm gonna tell you one more thing. I was reading. I used to blog about all the stuff that we were going through, and in 2009, I think was our turnaround year after a lot of difficulties, and I wrote down about that. And then I have absolutely no idea what I was about to say, and I'm not gonna sit here any longer. and make you wait till I figure it out. I don't know if I accomplished what I came here to do, but I do know it's getting warm out here, and me and the surveillance team are going inside. Y'all have a good day.